Well, it's early September and we've got some grapes that are ready. A lot of the apples are good for picking. Some zucchini happening. I've picked and dried some of the basil, and but these three I'm going to just leave in the garden so they'll produce seed. Looks like we have a few little cucumbers growing on these cucumber plants that I planted earlier this year, actually late in the season. But the sunflowers are really, even the three of them, two of them especially, are quite big and haven't flowered yet. I'll be picking and drying this parsley patch and saving some of the plants for seed next year. Here are the romaine lettuce. I'm hoping there's a long enough season for them to produce mature seed. I've been eating these Swiss chard, and the tomatoes seem to be ripening fairly well. Looks like our barrel got blown over by the storm yesterday. So I picked some of these tomatoes just to eat, and when the majority of them are red, when the bulk of them are red, I will be canning them. There's still broccoli happening. I've found it difficult to save seed for the broccoli. It should come in the first year, and these flowers should turn to seed. But often I've found with the few that I have, the seed isn't viable or very viable. I've picked a few of the green peppers. I'll have to leave at least one or two on for seed for next year. My kale's doing pretty good. It's ready almost. I'll be picking some soon to make kale chips. They're delicious. The Brussels sprouts are not producing very well. I'll give it some time there. Take some time with that. Everything was late in my garden this year, but looks like this late cabbage is maturing. I just got a cabbage lover here. We'll just take that one away. These beets should be good to plant out the next year for some seed. The carrots look like they're doing pretty good as well. I'll have to weed these onions again, and at a certain point when they start to fall over themselves, it's a good idea to just bend the stem over. That'll put more energy toward the bulb. Here's a lovely curly dock, wild edible in my garden. This year I'm going to dry leaves of the curly dock and the dandelion. Try putting them into gelatin capsules and use it as a cleanse. Later planted parsley in the mulch, in the branch mulch. It's doing pretty good for coming in late, or going in late. And again, here's some beautiful lamb's quarters to eat in a salad or cook it like spinach. And I'll be drying as much as I can of this because it's great in soups and stews. Really fallen behind weeding these smaller onions that I planted from seed in March. I'll have to get to this patch and help them to grow better. These peas that I planted quite late, they seem to still be getting nipped off by something. This area of the garden isn't as full of nutrients as the earlier part of the garden. I'll be feeding it with the compost and some manure, and probably about 2 or 3 times during the season It's good to put some manure or compost, feed it around the plants that need the high nutrition, like these green peppers. Tomatoes don't need much. Cabbages and broccoli, etc. The kale also needs a lot, and onions like a lot of nutrition. I'll still I'll feed these peas to see if they can do any better before the growing season is out. We're getting some beans. I planted some dried kind of beans like pinto beans and kidney beans and another kind of dried brown bean. We'll see how they do this year. This comfrey I've been trying to remove from the garden to create more space for the annuals. The comfrey is good for gardens, good use in gardens, but it spreads and can be invasive and very difficult to get out because the roots actually go in very deep and they draw up the nutrients. So the leaves are very good to put into the compost, but they do get in the way if you put them in the middle of your annual garden. With the comfrey, you should never till that into the ground because the roots will take and you'll have comfrey all over the place. So best to, I don't know if I'll ever get rid of it because of the deep roots, but I keep digging down and get as deep as I can. We'll see what happens. But never plow it in.